Hello everyone, we are the Team Innovables. We present you Framebox, a rapid prototyping tool for the Striking Balance 2022 Hackathon by Weavy and Wijmo under the theme of innovation. Framebox is basically a prototype that is used to build a wireframe for the design needs of developers, designers, or even product owners who can pitch in their ideas to the developers. Let's take a look at the problem statement in details. Yes, as developers, we are always presented with and given the opportunity to work with newer pieces of tech or tool every other day. And getting familiarized with the tools and the tech will take some time. And when we are in a situation where we should provide a POC or a prototype within a definite piece of time frame, it might get a bit difficult. So that's where rapid prototyping comes into play. And wireframing is the initial step while designing a UI. If we have an automated solution for that, and if we can add designs to the same and to build a POC and then add the functionalities and features on top of that, it will be incredible, right? Yes, let's look at our team's motivation. So, our team basically has been part of multiple hackathons and coding events, and one of the problems that we faced was to come up with a bare bone app structure in the initial hours. We know that usually offline hackathons are either 24 or 48 hours. So within the time frame, able being able to build a basic prototype without any functionality is actually difficult. And on top of that, we'll be able to build on other functionalities and features. And also, when looking from an end user perspective, let's say a client who needs a website, but the communication between the client and the developer has to go a long way. They need to go back and forth to explain the features, they need to go back and forth to explain what they're needing, how the design should be. All those things will take a lot of time. Basically, if you use Framebox there, so the client can use the Framebox to design a basic working structure, basic design of how he wants his product to be, and then pitching that with the developer. So it will be easier, and the communication time between the developer and client can be reduced. And also, this will help the developer to build his content or his features and functionalities on top of the POC that the client will be providing, and thereby the opinions and differences will not be as much as they used to be earlier. Hence, we are proposing Framebox. So, Framebox is an easy and a fast way to conceptualize or visualize a wireframe or a prototype of an idea that would otherwise take hours or days to build, right? A basic structure, the first step is the most difficult, as I say. To provide a platform to create a new code, no code or codeless way to integrate VV and Wijmo features into a web app. So coming to the question, why Weavy and Wijmo? So the thing is, Weavy and Wijmo are developer-oriented tools which have pre-built components and functionalities which are ready to use and easily adaptable. They have optimized the code to a level where we can just use that one-liner, copy-paste them in code, and then the features are ready to use. Right? We are taking a step further and taking those one-liner codes, integrating them onto an icon or a draggable content which can be used and put into a code space where the user need not go and manually paste the code in the program, but instead they can just drag and drop that in the code space, and the code space will automatically render the code and add the features inside the code space. Let's take a look at the basic structure on what we were trying to build. So here you can see the canvas concept. So the paragraph content, VV feed, which more flex grid, all these will be included in a code space. That's what we call the space. So inside the code space, initially it will be a plain field. So from the list of components that are listed in the left side of the page, as you can see, paragraph, titles, VV feeds, etc., we can just drag and drop them into the code space, and the code space will automatically render them inside the code space to, and the user can drag and make the size to the need of the user, and also rearrange them as per the user's convenience. Here we can see all the features that are listed from VV and Wijma, and also standalone components from HTML, CSS, or JS. And on the top, we can see an export as HTML button, right? So what it basically does is that after the user completes his design, we can use that button to export the code from the code space and provide it to the developer so that the developer can add the features, add the designs on top of that, and build a much better looking POC from the wireframe that the user provides. So this is a basic structure of how we intended to build the app. And coming to the features, with the Framebox, we will be easily able to build an SPA web app while integrating Weavy and Wijmo components with the GUI interface. So basically, the code space is a playground where we can use anything and everything, and we can render according to that. We can add pages to that one, like create multiple pages and integrate them together to build a functional web app. We can create them under 10 minutes without typing a single line of code, since all the code snippets are integrated onto the components that we saw in the previous slide. So once the template or the minimal prototype is built, users can able to download the code we saw as the export as HTML button on the top. So with that, they can download the code and then use it in the local framework and build on top of that. Users will also be given an option to add their own web components using JS or HTML into the app. Near to the code space, we saw the list of components, right? So inside the list of components, we can add our own components and integrate them into the code space. Moving on, it is usable by anyone. As we said, it's not just for a developer or designer. Anyone who needs a website for their business can use frameworks to create a basic prototype and then provide it to the freelancing developer or the designer who will be working on top of that. So it will make the communication more easier, as we said. And since it is a drag and drop UI system, it's really easy to use. There is no need to type even a single line of code. And ability to create private spaces. We know that VV provides spaces, right? So we can reuse that to create private spaces where multiple people can come together in the space and work on that. Also, options document and collect the details of the components being used in the prototype. That means if you're adding any new components other than the VV and Wijmo components, we can just basically save them as a template and reuse them for our future products or prototypes. So for the tech stack, now Akshay will be taking over. Please.
Thank you, Akshimon, for the solution explanation. Let's dive into the tech stack. Coming to the tech stack, we are using React for the front end, which enables us to make use of draggable React components and React Beautiful DND packages. For the backend, we are using JavaScript and MongoDB. Here we use React VV components and Wijmo components heavily and rely upon them for the reusable components for our proposed prototype. And now, coming to the future scope. Integrating an automated mockup system to render and present an app would be immensely useful for startups who have limited budget. And another thing we have in our mind is to migrate and reproduce the prototype generated using the app to view through multiple devices. Thank you, team Vivi and Wismo, for the opportunity presented for the showcase of our idea and for the technical support from the team. We are the team Inevitables. Thank you.